Alright, hi everyone. Good day. How are all of you? It's Saturday. I'm doing some early reading because I'm traveling next week. I decided I wanted to start this whole binge writing thing with some more of The Color of Magic because I don't fucking understand what's going on. So hopefully I'll learn a little bit more. This is for 3 parts. Thank you. This is the second part. 3 parts, get it? The second part of The Color of Magic. Excuse me, and of course I burp as soon as I'm about to start. The twin city of Ankh-Morpork, foremost of all the cities bounding the Circle Sea, was, as a matter of course, the home of a large number of gangs, thieves' guilds, syndicates, and similar organizations. This was one of the reasons for its wealth. Most of the humbler folk on the Wittishan side of the river, in Morpork's mazy alleys, supplemented their meager incomes by filling some small role for one or other of the competing gangs. So it was that, by the time Hugh and Twoflower entered the courtyard of the Broken Drum, the leaders of a number of them were aware that someone had arrived in the city who appeared to have much treasure. Some reports from the more observant spies included details about a book that told the stranger what to say, and a box that walked itself. These facts were immediately discounted. No magician capable of such enchantments ever came within a mile of Morpork docks. Oh boy. It was still being the hour when most of the city was just rising or about to go to bed. There were few people in the drum to watch Twoflower descend the stairs. When the luggage appeared behind him and started to lurch confidently down the steps, the customers at the rough wooden tables, as one man, looked suspiciously at their drinks. Broadman was browbeating the small troll who swept the bar when the trio walked past him. "When the hell's that?" he said. "Just don't talk about it," hissed Hugh. Twoflower was already thumbing through his book. What's he doing?" said Broadman, arms akimbo. "It tells him what to say." "I know it sounds ridiculous," muttered Hugh. "How can a book tell a man what to say?" "I wish for an accommodation, a room, lodgings, the lodging house, full board. Are your rooms clean, a room with a view? What is your rate for one night?" said Twoflower, in one breath. Broadman looked at Hugh. The beggar shrugged. "He's got plenty money," he said. "Tell him it's 3 copper pieces, then. And that thing will have to go in the stable." "Question mark?" said the stranger. Broadman held up 3 thick red fingers, and the man's red face was suddenly a sunny display of comprehension. He reached into his pouch and laid 3 gold... Oh, that's not a copper. 3 large gold pieces in Broadman's palm. Broadman stared at them. They represented about 4 times the worth of the Broken Drum, staff included. He looked at Hugh. There was no help there. He looked at the stranger. He swallowed. "Yes," he said in an unnaturally high voice. "And and then there's meals, of course. You understand. Food? You eat? No?" He made the appropriate motions. "Food?" said the little man. "Yes," said Broadman, beginning to sweat. "Have a look in your little book." "I should." The man opened the book and ran a finger down one page. Broadman, who could read after a fashion, peered over the top of the volume. What he saw made no sense. "Food," said the stranger. "Yes. Cutlet, hash, chop, stew, ragout, fricassee, mince, collop, souffle, dumpling, blancmange, sorbet, gruel, sausage, not to have a sausage, beans without a bean, kickshaws, jelly, jam, giblets." He beamed at Broadman. "All that?" said the innkeeper weakly. "It's just the way he talks," said Hugh. "Don't ask me why. He just does." All eyes in the room were watching the stranger, except for a pair belonging to Rincewind the wizard, who was sitting in the darkest corner nursing a mug of very small beer. He was watching the luggage. Watch Rincewind. Look at him, scrawny like most wizards, and clad in a dark red robe on which a few mystic sigils were embroidered in tarnished sequins. Some might have taken him for a mere apprentice enchanter who had run away from his master out of defiance, boredom, fear, and a lingering taste for heterosexuality. Yet around his neck was a chain bearing the bronze octagon that marked him as an alumnus of Unseen University, the high school of magic whose time and space transcendent campus is never precisely here or there. That's amazing. Time and space transcendent campus? Yes, please. Graduates were usually destined for mateship, at least, but Rincewind, after an unfortunate event... Oh, what is the unfortunate event? You need to tell me now. Had left knowing only one spell... Only one? And made a living of sorts around the town by capitalizing on an innate gift for languages. He avoided work as a rule, but had a quickness of wit that put his acquaintances in mind of a bright rodent. And he knew a sapient pearwood when he saw it. He was seeing it now. I didn't quite believe it. An archmage, by dint of great effort and much expenditure of time, might eventually obtain a small staff made from the timber of the sapient pear tree. It grew only on the sites of ancient magic. There were probably no more than 2 such staffs in all the cities of the Circle Sea. A large chest of it? Rincewind tried to work it out and decided that even if the box were crammed with star opals and sticks of, um, oh god, what is that? Auriculatum? The contents would not be worth 1/10 the price of the container. A vein started to throb in his forehead. He stood up and made his way to the trio. May I be of assistance? He ventured. Shove off, Rincewind, snarled Broadman. I only thought it might be useful to address this gentleman in his own tongue, said the wizard gently. He's doing all right on his own, said the innkeeper, but took a few steps backward. Rincewind smiled politely at the stranger and tried a few words of Shimmerin. He prided himself on his fluency in the tongue, but the stranger only looked bemused. It won't work, said Hugh knowledgeably. It's his book, you see. It tells him what to say. Magic. Rincewind switched to High Borogravian, to Vangelmesht, Sumtree, and even Black Urugu, the language with no nouns and only one adjective, which is obscene. No nouns and only one adjective. That my brain hurts. Is that a joke about Elvish? Each was met with polite incomprehension. In desperation, he tried heathen trob, and the little man's face split into a delighted grin. At last, he said, my good sir, this is remarkable. Although in trob, the last word in fact became a thing which may not happen but once in the usable lifetime of a canoe hollowed diligently by axe and fire from the tallest diamondwood tree that grows in the noted diamondwood forest on the lower slopes of Mount Awayawa, home of the fire gods, or so it is said. Remarkable. Wow, that's a long... Wow. What was all that? Said Broadman suspiciously. What did the innkeeper say? Said the little man. Rincewind swallowed. Broadman, he said, 2 mugs of your best ale, please. You can understand him? Oh, sure. Tell him he's very welcome. Tell him breakfast is, 1 gold piece. For a moment, Broadman's face looked as though some vast internal struggle was going on, and then he added, with a burst of generosity, I'll throw in yours, too. Stranger, said Rincewind levelly. If you stay here, you will be knifed or poisoned by nightfall. But don't stop smiling, or so will I. Oh, come now, said the stranger, looking around. This looks like a delightful place. A genuine Morporkian tavern. I've heard so much about them, you know. All these quaint old beams. And so reasonable, too. Rincewind glanced... These people do not sound reasonable. Well, they might be, but... Rincewind glanced around quickly in case some leakage of enchantment from the magician's quarter across the river had momentarily transported them to some other place. No, this was still the interior of the drum. Its walls stained with smoke, its floor a compost of old rushes and nameless beetles, its sour beer not so much purchased as merely hired for a while. He tried to fit the image around the word quaint, or rather the nearest trob equivalent, which was that pleasant oddity of design found in the little coral houses of the sponge-eating pygmies on the Orohai Peninsula. Oh my god, this trob language is amazing. I'm so into it. His mind reeled back from the effort. The visitor went on. My name is Two-Flower, and extended his hand. Instinctively, the other 3 looked down to see if there was a coin in it. Pleased to meet you, said Rincewind. I'm Rincewind. Look, I wasn't joking. This is a tough place. Good. Exactly what I wanted. What? Eh? What is this stuff in the mugs? This? Beer. Thanks, Broadman. Yes, beer, you know. Beer. Ah, the so typical drink. A small gold piece will be sufficient payment, do you think? I do not want to cause offense. He was already half out of his purse. Croaked Rincewind. I mean, no, it wouldn't cause offense. Good. You say this is a tough place. Frequented, you mean, by heroes and men of adventure? Rincewind considered this. Yes, he managed. Excellent. I would like to meet some. Why? An explanation occurred to the wizard. Oh, he said, you've come to hire mercenaries, warriors who fight for the tribe with most milk-nut meal? Wow, that's very specific. Oh, no, I just want to meet them, so that when I can go home I can say that I did it. Rincewind thought that a meeting with most of the drum's clientele would mean that Two-Flower never went home again unless he lived downriver and happened to float past. Aww. Where is your home? He inquired. Brahman had slipped away into some back room, he noticed. Hugh was watching them suspiciously from a nearby table. Have you heard of the city of Best Pelargic? Well, I didn't spend much time in Trob. I was just passing through, you know. Oh, it's not in Trob. I speak Trob because there are so many Betrobi sailors in our ports. Best Pelargic is the major seaport of the Agatian Empire. Never heard of it, I'm afraid. Two-Flower raised his eyebrows. No? It is quite big. You sail turnwise from the Brown Islands for about a week, and there it is. Are you all right? He hurried back around the table and patted the wizard on the back. Rincewind choked on his beer. The counterweight continent? I don't know what that is. 3 streets away, an old man dropped a coin into a saucer of acid and swirled it gently. Broadman waited impatiently, ill at ease in a room made noisome by vats and bubbling beakers and lined with shelves containing shadowy shapes suggestive of skulls and stuffed impossibilities. That is a lot of alliteration right there. Well, he demanded. One cannot hurry these things, said the old alchemist peevishly. A saying takes time. Ah, he parted the saucer where the coin now lay in a swirl of green color. He made some calculations on a scrap of parchment. Exceptionally interesting, he said at last. Is it genuine? The old man pursed his lips. It depends on how you define the term, he said. If you mean, is this coin the same as, say, a $50 piece, then the answer is no. I knew it, screamed the innkeeper and started toward the door. I'm not sure that I'm making myself clear, said the alchemist. Broadman turned around angrily. What do you mean? Well, you see, what with one thing and another, our coinage has been somewhat watered over the years. The gold content of the average coin is barely 4 parts in 12, the balance being made up of silver, copper. What of it? I said this coin isn't like ours. It's pure gold. Where did he get that? After Broadman had left, at a run, the alchemist spent some time staring at the ceiling. Then he drew out a very small piece of thin parchment, rummaged for a pen amongst the debris on his workbench, and wrote a very short, small message. Then he went over to his cages of wow. Sorry, my neighbors are having a Shakira party. Then went over to his cages of white doves, black cockerels, and other laboratory animals. From one cage he removed a glossy coat of a rat, rolled the parchment into the file attached to a hind leg, and let the animal go. It sniffed around the floor for a moment, then disappeared down a hole in the far wall. At about this time, a hitherto unsuccessful fortune-teller, living on the other side of the block, chanced to glance in her scrying bowl, gave a small scream, and within the hour had sold her jewelry, various magical accoutrements, most of her clothes, and almost all her other possessions that could not be conveniently carried on the fastest horse she could buy. The fact that later on, when her house collapsed in flames, she herself died in a freak landslide in the Moorpork Mountains, proves that death, too, has a sense of humor. What the fuck? Also at about the same moment, as the homing rat disappeared into the maze of runs under the city, scurrying along in faultless obedience to an ancient instinct, the patrician of Ankh-Morpork picked up the letters delivered that morning by Albatross. He looked pensively at the topmost one again and summoned his chief of spies. And in the broken drum, Rincewind was listening open-mouthed as Two-Flower talked. So I decided to see for myself, the little man was saying. 8 years saving up, this has cost me, but worth every half Rhinu. I mean, here I am, in Ankh-Morpork, famed in song and story, in the streets that have known the tread of Herrick Whiteblade, Harun the Barbarian, and Bravid the Hublander, and the Weasel. It's all just like I imagined, you know? Rincewind's face was a mask of fascinated horror. I just couldn't stand it anymore, and Bess Pelagic, Two-Flower went on blithely, sitting at a desk all day, just adding up columns of figures, just a pension to look forward to at the end of it. Where's the romance in that? Two-Flower, I thought, it's now or never. You don't just have to listen to stories. You can go there. Now's the time to stop hanging around the docks listening to sailors' tales. So I compiled a phrase book and bought a passage on the next ship to the Brown Islands. No guards, murmured Rincewind. No. Why? What have I got that's worth stealing? Rincewind coughed. You have, gold? He said. Barely 2,000 Rhinu. Hardly enough to keep a man alive for a month. Or two. At home, that is. I imagine they might stretch a bit further here. Would a Rhinu be one of those big gold coins? Said Rincewind. Yes. Two-Flower looked weirdly at the wizard over the top of his strange seeing lenses. Will 2,000 be sufficient, do you think? Croaked Rincewind. I mean, yes. Sufficient. Good. Is everyone in the Agatian Empire as rich as you? Me? Rich? Bless you. Whatever put that idea into your head? I'm but a poor clerk. Did I pay the innkeeper too much, do you think? Two-Flower added. He might have settled for less, Rincewind conceded. Ah, I shall know better next time. I can see I have a lot to learn. An idea occurs to me, Rincewind. Would you perhaps consent to be employed as perhaps the word guide would fit the circumstances? I think I could afford to pay you a Rhinu a day. Rincewind opened his mouth to reply, but felt the words huddled together in his throat, reluctant to emerge in a world that was rapidly going mad. Two-Flower blushed. Two-Flower seems mighty naive. Mighty naive. Okay, I'm going to make another video and keep reading, I guess, because what is this book? What is this book?